CoffeeCast. This is a new, exciting video that is coming from the people at Hover. And I'm telling you what, it is such a great new opportunity to learn about the amazing roofing professionals we have. And today, in episode 1, I have to tell you, the best of the best is here. Joe Hoffman. Joe, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's my absolute pleasure. And this isn't a sunburn. I'm blushing over that. So,
no, it's true. It's true. The best. I mean, I know we'll probably share some little stories as we go through here. But before I do that, I want to introduce my co-interviewer and also in charge, the director of sales at Hover, Steve Camano. Steve, welcome.
Thanks, Heidi. Pleasure to be here with both you and Joe. Looking forward to today.
Well, I tell you what, after our first episode, Steve, talking about CoffeeCast, I know you and I have both been really excited to talk to Joe, to hear it. We kind of know the story, but I have a feeling we're going to learn a lot more today. So, Joe, before we get started, everybody's probably wondering out there why I didn't say what company you're with. And the reason is, I know you have several. You're quite the entrepreneur. So I'm going to let you tell your story, maybe share with everyone how you got into roofing, what you've been doing all these years as we've all worked together, and where you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I got into roofing, I think, for the best and worst of reasons, and probably the same reason most people get into roofing is that I just fell into it. So I don't know. Do you guys want the real story, or do you want the PC version, the one that shows up on the website?
We want the real story. Come on and show us. Let everybody out there know.
I was working with my stepdad, actually. Started a company, John Weber Construction, the owner, remodeling company, and I was working for him part-time and living. I just moved in with my girlfriend, now my wife of almost 20 years, but we had a little unexpected surprise at the ripe old age of 19 years old, and there was a baby on the way. So I went to John and I said, hey, you know, can we grow this thing? Can we do this? And he said, absolutely, let's go for it. So he took me on as a business partner. He was very gracious and took me on as a business partner, and together we started going into roofing. Started growing the business rather. We got really lucky. 2005, we had a side project. We were going to do it on a Saturday. It was this hailstorm, or I'm sorry, it was this roof in Rogers. We had the material, we had the dumpster, we had the permit, everything ready to go, right? Friday, this massive hailstorm wipes out Rogers. And so I called the guy and I said, hey, I think we should hold off on your project. He said, yeah, I agree. Went out there the next morning to check it out. I didn't know hail damage from bird crap at the time. I had no clue. But this roof was destroyed. And so I said, all right, Dale, his guy's name was Dale. Dale, I think we should hold off. Let's see what the insurance carrier says, right? He said, yeah, I think that's a good idea. By the way, the guy next door's name is Dale. You should probably go talk to him too. And so I went and talked to that Dale, and he was destroyed. And I said, hey, here's what we can do for you. He said, that sounds great. And he said, you should talk to the guy across the street. His name's Dale too. So there had 3 Dales in a row. And I'll never forget, the adjuster showed up to the first Dale and looked at the dumpster, the materials, the permit, and said, "Whoa, this guy got lucky, didn't he?" Yeah, by about 12 hours.
Wow.
But anyways, then we just started going into insurance restoration in 2005, right? And we just took off down that path. And then we all know what happened in 2008. But we were well on our way to insurance restoration. We knew the game. We knew what we were doing. We started traveling a little bit outside in the winter time because we can't roof for about 3 to 4 months a year in Minnesota, and the rest is history.
I was telling Heidi this offline. I was so surprised by the market and the incredible people like yourself there. And then when I came back, the way that you were like creatively and your teammates were creatively like leveraging the technology. You guys were leveraging export files we had that nobody else used, and creating, it went from a world of getting measurement efficiency to actually supporting the customer experience and giving the consumer what they wanted, which was to visualize the outcome of their home. And I just always thought that was really, really innovative of you and your organization.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we've always, you know, I said earlier, we've tried to stay on the bleeding edge, and we have, for better or worse, stayed on the bleeding edge of of technology. And I like to say we fail better than anybody. We really are really good at screwing up and like learning from it, and we have to do that. But with Hover, exactly what you're talking about was, I feel like, one of our successes, where we, kind of utilized it right out of the gate, and you summed it up perfectly. It supported the customer experience where these customers could now visualize what their house was going to look like after the project was done in a really unique way that didn't exist at the time. There was a handful of softwares out there that could get them maybe 60% of what the final project was going to be, but the way we were able to utilize the Hover files, especially those SKP files, they could see about, I'd say, 80 to 90%, right? Took that customer's imagination a whole nother step further.
What I see happening in the last year and a half with COVID, talk about being right. You say you are great at failing, but boy, were you positioned in the right spot to be able to communicate with homeowners, to be able to do it all electronically, socially distanced. What do you think was some of the biggest learning moments you had during the last year and a half about technology and roofing?
Specifically with Hoffman Weber, I think actually COVID kind of helped the market catch up to where we almost already were. We already had those capabilities, so we were very blessed that it really didn't impact us that much as far as a sales cycle. We were already ready. We had been trying and playing and experimenting and failing and learning from those failures for probably, Steve, I don't know, 3 years. We were working with Hover on it. I think it went back like 3 years. So yeah, we already had a really good idea. So when the shutdowns happened, we were able to just flip a switch. All of our guys already had experience with it. I mean, frankly, we already did a lot of, what you'd call now a touchless appointment. We already did quite a bit of it prior to the shutdowns. So what really changed for us was now customers were the ones asking for it, as opposed to us just offering it as a way of convenience, really, right? Because everybody's busy. You got, you either got young kids or you got kids and that's craziness, or you got kids in sports and that's craziness, or you got kids out of the house, and then you got a actual life again, right, outside of kids. So you got book clubs and you got golf, and you got everybody has so many things to do in their life. So it's and that was where it originally came from with us, was a way to provide our clients with more convenience. And now during COVID, it kind of shifted into a way to provide clients with safety, right? We want to keep our customers safe, but the show must go on. Our employees still had to feed their family, and our clients still had to repair the roofs or siding or windows or whatever else. So we shifted gears and found a way to continue commerce and continue business while keeping people safe.
This seems like a good time. Maybe you can share with us about Ruful, what it is. I mean, you just said you incorporated it in the middle of COVID. I love it. It seems like a lot of things happen in the middle of these kind of events, but tell us what it is, or tell everybody what it is.
Yeah, so Ruful is a first of its kind. Like we just talked about, I've cut my teeth. My entire adult life has been in this industry, and I absolutely love it. It's afforded me and a lot of people that I care about some amazing opportunities. And there's a lot of difficulties in our industry that I'd really meditated on and thought about for years. I mean, we're talking going back to like Heidi, when you and I first met, 2010, 11 timeframe, about why it is the way that it is, and different solutions to help our industry kind of get better and improve and make lives better for contractors and consumers. And a lot of experiences, and a lot of things happened. We got approached by different things, and we looked at different business models, and we had lots and lots of failures along the way. Those failures led to successes, and our experiences with Hover kind of all culminated in Ruful, which is a first of its kind. It's a tech platform, and it's really boil it all the way down to the bottom, and it's meant to do two things, and that is well, I guess rather three things. It's meant to provide consumers with the best-in-class experience that current technology is capable of, and we've built that out, right? I'm very confident we're providing the best experience. And I won't put all my fingers down because I might give you one. So, we'll go backwards. So the second reason is to really, we want to provide contractors in our space with the one thing that makes our industry incredibly difficult to operate in. And contractors have a very, very tough life, and it's a tough business to be in. Steve, you know this. You've been in the industry, right? It's tough. And what we want to provide our contractors with is recurring revenue. There's a lot more, but we're going to give our contractors recurring revenue, and that's going to give them space to work on their business, not in their business. Instead of working in their business 18 hours a day, they can work on their business 12 hours a day, and really give them some wiggle room to grow their business and their operations and sophistication and size or profitability, whatever their metrics are. And then third is there's a lot of really large industry partners out there, you know, manufacturers, suppliers, Hover, right? You know, there's a lot of these really big partners out there, and they have a lot of really good, valuable tech built out, and they don't necessarily have somebody on the other side. And too many of these, you know, 40,000 roofing contractors in our country, to connect, right? What's actually happening in the real world on these job sites, in these homes, with their really powerful tech. And Ruful's built out to bridge that gap, cross that moat, so that these really big, sophisticated, large industry partners can gain insights and access into what happens in the homes and on the homes.
I wanted to talk kind of like about like work-life balance. I don't think balance is the right word. I think it's more like harmony. Like, how do you find that comfortable place where you know, deal with everything you got going on, running a business, and also being there and present for your family, which obviously is probably why we're all doing this, Joe. So would love to hear how you find that harmony, you know, and within your life, and how you keep things on the up and up.
Yeah. I mean, I guess shamefully for a lot of years, quite frankly, I didn't. I was on the road 3 weeks a month. I was working 100-hour work weeks. I'm not exaggerating here. It's, you know, 18-hour days were the norm. But sleep in the office for, you know, 5, 6 hours, and then wake up and hit it again. Didn't see my kids for days at a time. Even when I was in town, didn't see them for days at a time. It wasn't very often. So it was a challenge, and that was at the beginning parts of the business. And then something happened and some changes, right? My kids started getting older. My oldest son turned 9 years old, and I had what I imagine was normally defined as a midlife crisis, when I realized that my son, half of his childhood was over, and I had missed it, and it was a decade, right? That I just was gone, and I wasn't ever getting back. Didn't matter. I can't buy it back. You know, Bill Gates couldn't buy that decade back. It was gone forever. So I made some pretty drastic changes in my professional life. We shifted gears from chasing hailstorms into more of a retail model that's a lot more sustainable and provides a lot more forward planning ability than chasing hailstorms ever could. And I talked to my various guys that were running my various offices, and they were all ready to at the same time. We kind of all hit this point where we were all like, stick a fork in me, I'm done, at the same time. So we shifted gears. I gave them each the opportunity to kind of go out on their own and support them in that, if that's what they wanted to do, to fire up their own business and chase it if that's what they wanted to. And they opted not to. They opted to, you know, kind of stay together as one cohesive team and move forward. And I made a promise to my wife that I couldn't guarantee I wasn't going to have to work that many hours again, but I told her, if I do, it will be the last time, because I'll be working that many hours to make it so I never have to again. And so I did. We got together as a team, started making a lot of changes. And something really, really interesting happened. As soon as I got out of the way, at this time, it was just the one business of Hoffman Weber Construction, got way better. It got more profitable. My people were happier. Revenue was up. Expenses were down. Everything got better as soon as I got out of the way. And it was a really hard moment when I realized, holy crap, for the last decade, I've just been micromanaging my team. And I have been the roadblock to our success. And when I saw that happen and I had that epiphany and I committed to getting out of the way more, at the same time, I started giving more and more trust to my people, and we, trust them to make the best decisions, and we empower them to make mistakes. I said we screw up better than anybody. Making mistakes is okay. Making mistakes is frankly somewhat encouraged because that means you're actually trying something, right? It's hard to screw up if you're sitting back playing it safe all the time. So if you're actually out there going for it, you're going to screw up. That's something to be somewhat celebrated as long as we learn from it. And so since then, it's that work-life balance has it's kind of solved itself. Since in order to continue making my business better and better, what I really have to do is continue empowering all of my people to go out there and get after it and make their own decisions for the right reasons. And that requires less and less of me, which is frankly what's freed me up to pursue this startup and another business. This is where I'm going to get not very popular with my colleagues. Frankly, probably not with the insurance carriers either. I'm going to make everybody's enemy here, but I think the fault lies on both sides. And who's moving first and who's moving faster, I don't know. But if we used to be here back in 2005 when I did my first hailstorm, the insurance carriers are offering less quite often, and the contractors are asking for more, and the insurance carriers are getting stickier and stickier on what constitutes hail damage, right? Because that's not a black and white answer. That's a spectrum. There's a bell curve there. And the contractors are getting more and more aggressive on what constitutes hail damage, and we're getting farther and farther apart. And what I see is we're still meeting in the same damn place. It's just taking twice as long, and everybody's expending way more effort, and the homeowners are having this horrible friggin' experience in the meantime, and it just keeps going wider and wider and wider. And what we're doing with Ruful, I really hope, and it's our plan to help bridge some of that divide, and make and be able to give by automating a lot of the back end. It's essentially what we've done is automated huge amounts of the back office, and by doing that, I think we're going to be able to hopefully help bridge that gap in a lot of ways and get it back to some semblance of normal.
And it's sad. It's sad for the homeowners who have just had their roofs torn off or blown off or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm excited at the fact that you are looking for solutions that get collaboration. What is your most fundamental leadership quality or principles that guide you? And you were talking about getting out of the way, but can you maybe, if you're talking to other contractors who are leaders and who maybe are coming from the Wild West and moving into this new era, what would you tell them?
They need to understand accounting, like, period. They have to understand accounting. Any contractor watching this, if you do not know what P&L stands for and how to read the 3 big financial statements, go learn now. Please, for the sake of yourself, your family, and the rest of our industry, learn now. But outside of that, I guess I feel like what is developed as my personal best leadership quality is what I described earlier, and it's to really find people that fit our culture, that are phenomenally talented, and then just empower them to make mistakes.
I think, leading by example is something that's really important. I always, I look to folks in leadership roles everywhere that I've worked, and you know, if it was somebody that, you know, I could feel like we're rowing the boat in the same direction, that just to me was really motivating and empowering. And beyond that, diversity of thought is something that needs to be promoted. I think we often kind of get shut down in this very like simple-minded world. And, you know, I knew I was good at roofing in my local market, but, you know, my role here at Hover has actually expanded my horizons. I moved from my little fish pond to an entire ocean of diversity of thought. And I've learned more in the last 5 or 6 years here than I have over the last 20 years of my career, because I had diversity of thought. I just wasn't talking to you know, installers all day long. I was hearing the installer, but now I'm also hearing the owner. I'm also hearing the private equity firm. I'm also hearing the distributor's point of view, and I'm hearing the manufacturer's point of view. And you know, there's no right way to do something. The moment you shut down you shut the door on creativity and innovation, is just a sad day. So that's my perspective.
Well, I agree with both of you. And I think actually in this case, I'm surrounded by very smart people in this interview. So I feel good because always surround yourself with people who are better than you. That's what I believe in too, Joe. So that's perfect. Well, Joe, thank you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for, you know, really empowering all the other contractors and all of us in everything that you do. And we're really excited to watch Ruful. And so we'll probably have to have you back to tell us how that's going and what's happening.
Yeah, it was my absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, absolutely. You tell me when and where. I would love to join again. A lot of fun.
Do it again. Well, Steve, I think that does it for us for another CoffeeCast. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. What a great use of our time today, Joe. It was a great pleasure to connect with you again, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person soon.
Sounds like a plan.
See you soon, and we'll be seeing all of you.
Pretty quick here, so we'll have to connect.
I love it. And we're going to be seeing all of you on the next CoffeeCast. So be sure to join us here at Rivers Coffee Shop and CoffeeCast, sponsored by Hover, who is bringing us the top contractors in the industry to share their stories with you. We'll see you next time.